Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take complex topics and give you the shortcut to being well-informed. Today, we're plunging into a skill that's honestly incredibly in demand in the job market.
Yeah, it really is.
And it's way less scary than you probably think. We're talking about SQL.
Yeah.
If you've ever felt like databases speak some kind of secret language, and maybe you're tired of waiting for someone else to translate,
Right.
get ready, because we're about to hand you the Rosetta Stone for your data.
And that's exactly why this deep dive matters so much, SQL isn't just for, specialized programmers. It's a truly foundational skill for anyone wanting to work with or even just understand data better.
Okay.
Think about it. Every major company, Netflix, banks, schools, you name it, they all use vast amounts of information, and it's all stored in databases. SQL is basically the common language that makes those databases work.
The universal translator.
Exactly. So whether you're a business analyst, a student, maybe a marketer, or even a teacher, understanding SQL can truly unlock new possibilities. Our mission today is simple. Help you understand what SQL is, how it works, and critically, how you can start using it, today to become truly well-informed.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So SQL, it stands for Structured Query Language.
Right.
And maybe the simplest way to think about it is like talking to a giant digital filing cabinet or maybe a massive, super organized library.
That's a great analogy.
If you want to find something inside that cabinet or add something new or even change what's already there, you use SQL. It's the command center for your data.
Yeah, the way you actually communicate your intentions to the database.
Exactly.
And building on that idea of the digital filing cabinet, what's really powerful is how it's actually organized inside. Databases are made up of what we call tables.
Okay.
And for anyone who's ever opened a spreadsheet, like Excel, this will feel instantly familiar. Think of them just like that.
Rows and columns.
Precisely. Each table has rows, and each row is a complete record. So in a student's table, one row might be one individual student.
Makes sense.
And then you have columns, which are the specific fields for each record, like their name, their grade, maybe their age. So your student's table might have columns like ID, name, age, and grade.
Okay.
And the rows would be data like, Alice 2088 or Brian 2276.
Got it. So that structure is key.
Absolutely. This organized structure is exactly what allows SQL to answer real-world questions like, okay, give me all students older than 21, or add this new student to the list, or even, hey, update Brian's grade.
That makes so much sense. The library analogy holds up. So if tables are books, rows, chapters, columns, pages, how does SQL actually read those pages? Like, what's the very first thing we'd ask it to do if we just wanted to take a peek inside that student's table?
Right. The first step, you'd use the select statement. That's the command for reading data.
Okay.
If you want to see everything in that student's table, all the rows, all the columns, you'd simply write select from students.
The asterisk, that means everything.
Exactly. That asterisk is a wild card. It just means all columns. It's a quick way to say, show me absolutely everything you've got in this table.
Handy.
But often you don't need everything. If you only want specific information, say just the names and grades, you can ask for just those columns. You'd write select name, grade from students.
It sounds almost deceptively simple, like plain English commands.
It really is in many ways.
But okay, once you're pulling data, the next step is usually refining that search, right? To get just what you need from maybe thousands or millions of rows. You don't want the whole phone book if you're just looking for one person's number. How do we get precise?
Yeah, great question. That's where the where clause comes in. Where?
Yeah.
It lets you filter your results based on conditions.
Okay, filtering.
So if you only want students older than 21, you'd add where age 21 to your select statement. The full command would be select from students where age 21.
Simple enough. What about sorting? Like highest grade first.
Yep, you can do that too. If you want to organize your results, say by grade in descending order, highest first, you'd use order by grade deci for descending.
Order by it, okay.
And you can often string these commands together, select these columns from this table where this condition is true, order by this column. And what's incredible, like you said, is how these simple English-like commands deliver really powerful, precise results from potentially massive data sets.
Right. It demystifies it a bit. But SQL isn't just about reading, is it? You mentioned changing data, too.
Exactly. Reading is often the first step, but you can also modify the data. That's where things get really dynamic.
So how would you add someone new, like insert a new student?
You'd use the insert into statement. For instance, to add a new student named Charlie, who's 19 with a grade of 92, you'd write something like, insert into students, name, age, grade, values, Charlie, 1992.
Okay, insert into, and you specify the columns and then the values.
Precisely. And connecting this to the bigger picture, it's all about managing your data dynamically. It changes. So you can also modify existing records. Let's say Brian retook a test and improved his grade to 85.
How would you update that?
You'd use the update statement. It would look like, update student set grade, 85, where name, it was Brian.
The where clause is crucial there too, so you only update Brian.
Absolutely critical. You need to specify which record to update.
Yeah.
And similarly, you can remove records using the delete command.
Yeah.
Maybe Charlie leaves the school, so you'd write delete from students, where name Charlie.
Delete. Okay.
But, and this is a really important caution that comes up in the source materials, always be careful when deleting.
Right. You don't want to accidentally wipe out the wrong data.
Exactly. Double check, triple check that where clause with delete. Data integrity is paramount. You don't want to remove the wrong row.
That be careful part is probably the most vital warning of this whole deep dive. I can just imagine the panic. It's like the digital version of shredding the wrong file cabinet. So, okay, we see how it works technically, but what does this all mean for you, the listener? How does SQL actually impact your day-to-day or your professional life beyond just, hypothetical student records?
Well, it's truly pervasive. Think about it. Business analysts use it constantly. They pull reports from sales data, customer databases. It helps companies understand trends, make decisions.
The analysts.
HR departments rely on it heavily to track employee records, manage payroll, things like that.
Right.
Teachers or schools, as we used in our example, manage student databases with it. And app developers, they use SQL or variations of it behind the scenes constantly, storing user info, preferences, content. It's in almost every mobile app you use.
So it's kind of the hidden engine behind a lot of things we interact with.
Absolutely. And what's truly profound isn't just pulling data points. It's understanding that with SQL, you're interacting with the memory of a business, the hidden patterns of customers. You're not just querying numbers. You're starting to uncover the stories the data wants to tell, stories that drive really big decisions.
Uncovering stories. I like that framing.
And even if you just learn the basics, just the select, where, order by stuff we talked about, that alone opens so many doors. Analyzing sales data, pulling your own reports instead of waiting. It's useful in almost any field dealing with information.
That's incredibly powerful. And the good news, I assume, is that getting started with this, it isn't some huge, insurmountable hurdle.
Not at all. That's one of the best parts.
What are some practical steps someone listening right now could take if they're intrigued?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is just how accessible learning SQL has become. You really don't need expensive software or complex setups anymore. There are tons of free tools. You can use things like Scolate, which is a simple database engine, or online tools like dbfiddle, or Mode Analytics has a free SQL editor. You can use them right in your browser.
Oh, right in the browser. That's easy.
Super easy. And for learning platforms, you've got amazing resources. W3 Schools is great for beginners. Kaggle has datasets and tutorials. Even LeetCode has beginner-friendly SQL challenges.
So lots of options to just try it out.
Exactly. And the best way to learn is to practice with, sort of real-world data sets. Find mock sales tables or student records or maybe online store orders. It makes it feel tangible.
Good tip.
My advice, honestly, just start small. Try dedicating maybe 10, 15 minutes a day. Just play around with select statements. You'll honestly be amazed at what you can pick up in just a week.
Just 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah. And here's a practical benefit, a little extra motivation perhaps. SQL is very often tested in job interviews for a huge range of roles, not just tech ones.
Ah, good point.
So every minute you spend getting comfortable with it now could really pay off down the line.
Okay, fantastic. And there you have it, your deep dive into SQL. We've journeyed through what SQL actually is, this structured query language, how databases organize information in those tables, rows, and columns, and how you can use simple commands like select, insert, update, delete to read, write, and change data. Plus, we've given you some really actionable steps to start learning today and begin, as you said, uncovering those hidden stories in the data.
Exactly. You now hold the keys, or at least the beginner's guide, to that secret language. You've got the power now to start unlocking insights directly from the digital world around you. So here's something to think about. Consider how many of your daily interactions, maybe ordering coffee online, streaming a movie, how many rely on these hidden database conversations you now have a window into.
Yeah.
What other languages, maybe beyond SQL, do you think power our modern world? And what profound discoveries could you make if you learn to speak them?